Americans see negative consequences. Jesus fuck, what are you talking about? Of U.S. troop withdrawal from South Korea. So you guys realize that South Korea is an occupied country. It's a completely occupied fascist country where chaebols, people will correct my pronunciation, they dictate and control the society. Suicide rates are crazy. They have no workers' rights. And the capital in the country was set up by the West. They don't ask Americans these kind of questions this often. Every other story I've seen covering American sentiments on North Korea always go back to the same study and article. I would love to see where it's at right now, because a lot of people realize that our government lies for a living. Every single thing they have said about their geopolitical enemies is outright fabrication. Everything that you heard about North Korea came from Radio Free Asia that was funded by USAID, and it's a blessing to humanity that their ass is shut down. There was these Western-funded propagandists masquerading as international journalists who would make up complete bullshit with no corroboration, and Americans will just believe it. They'd be like, hey, don't you know that Kim Jong-un had his uncle murdered by sharks with lasers on their head? And Americans like, man, North Korea's fucking crazy. What the fuck did North Korea do to you? And I want to see new numbers, because I swear, bro, I swear I'm starting to see my work pay off. I'm seeing the work of my Marxist, Leninist brothers and sisters pay off, because they was the ones who educated me on Korea years ago as a social democrat. Don't get me wrong, guys. I always was anti-establishment, anti-war. I like to make fun of myself, but even after Bernie lost, I voted for third party every single time. You couldn't catch me dead voting for Hillary Clinton. I still like to make fun of my old self, but I was never, ever a supporter of the empire. My analysis was wrong. Like, I had an analysis where I thought progressive Democrats was a way to check the empire, which is completely wrong. I'm going to give you guys another example when we get to Zuron later. But I'm starting to see people realize that their entire life they've been fed complete bullshit. But this is the last study we have where Americans hold a very negative view of North Korea amid nuclear tensions. There's only tensions because the West can't get over their L in Korea, where we murdered over 2 million Korean people, engaged in acts of torture, genocide, in order to help the South Korea create a puppet state of the West. And after we murdered their people, destroyed their society, created health issues because all the chemical weapons that we used on them, we then waged economic war to destroy their self-determination. Like, we even imposed penalties on countries who trade and have normalized relations with North Korea. This is why every single European country falls in line as well. So you have the majority of Western capital, you have the entirety of Western society that waged war against a society, waged war against a people after murdering millions of them. And then Americans go turn around like, what is wrong with North Korea? Why do North Korea hate us so much? The most propagandized people in the world. And I'm sharing this. You guys know I do go on a lot of rants about countries the United States tells us to hate. This was the big news today. And other than a few print media articles, the corporate media is largely silent on this. And you want to know what's funny? And this is anecdotal. This is anecdotal. But I was preparing for this segment. And I saw a Fox News segment on this story where they describe it. And it was crazy. It was unhinged. They was praising the idea of killing civilians. And I swear to fucking God, they posted this video on Fox News like 2 days ago. I was going to break it down and use it as a way to cover the story as well. It was removed. Like, I had it bookmarked I have all my videos saved when I cover it. This video that they post on YouTube, no, I'm not fucking crazy. They took it down. That's anecdotal, I will admit. But I promise to God, this video I was gonna show you guys today it's literally not up on YouTube no more. So Fox News was told, hey man, take this fucking video down. We can't talk about this damn story. It's one thing that you even did a segment on your show, but no one actually watches. Like no one watches these corporate media channels other than my crazy ass. You know what I mean? But they were like, we're definitely not about to post this as a segment. Oh, with the CNN page, they're not talking about this. This is the kind of belligerent, insane actions that the United States engages against the North Korean people. When we send SEAL Team 6 and Marines who mass murdered Korean citizens, they murdered fishermen because they had a mission that was approved of by Donald Trump where they wanted to plant a bug on the dprk's leader, Kim Jong-un. And it was essentially a U.S.-sanctioned invasion of North Korea. So you guys see if your country is constantly a victim of a wild, crazy-ass, batshit rogue state, it's a pretty good idea to be militarized, to have a nuclear arsenal. But Americans hate North Korea. Oh my God, I'm offended at the idea of you having nuclear weapons. But go back to this poll. 65% are very concerned about North Korea having nuclear weapons. There's another article. Let me see if I can find it, where they said Americans find it offensive. I didn't have it saved, but I might find it because I found it while I was doing research. You guys know I'm always in the lab cooking. I'm always in the lab. I'm going to see if I can find it real quick. Damn. I swear I typed this in and find it. The thing, bro, go ahead, type in American views on North Korea. They don't fucking talk about this. They don't ask Americans about this that much. Americans see negative consequences of U.S. troop withdrawal. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at this. I just found this. Trying to find another story. Americans see negative consequences. Jesus fuck. What are you talking about? Of U.S. troop withdrawal from South Korea. So you guys realize that South Korea is an occupied country. It's a completely occupied fascist country. Where chaebols, people will correct my pronunciation, they dictate and control the society. Suicide rates are crazy. They have no workers' rights. And the capital in the country was set up by the West. I was doing a lot of research. I had my friends sharing some articles with me. Samsung, Hyundai, the entire South Korean economy was started and bankrolled by Western capitalists. I'm like, oh my God, I need to go down this rabbit hole. I'm a big rabbit hole enthusiast. I got to do more research on that, and I'm going to prepare a segment on that. Like, you guys realize, I said South Korea is a fake-ass country. Every anti-imperialist knows South Korea is a fake-ass country. It's a Cold War creation meant to counter communism. If you look at the maps, I might be able to find, I posted it 1,000 times. The North Korean Revolutionary Army had the capital of South Korea completely surrounded, and the Korean War was won. It was over. The peninsula was about to be unified under communism. Then the United States got involved and helped turn the tide and didn't win the war, but it created the artificial split. When South Korea wasn't about to exist, they was getting their ass handed to them. And then you have people in South Korea who, just like the fascists in Venezuela, the Banderites in Ukraine, they was extreme fascists who engaged in torture, who sided with the West, destroying the sovereignty of their own people. So you, like I said 1,000 fucking times, you will never in a million years catch me supporting anyone supporting a CIA revolution. The same reason you saw me bash anyone like Zoran Mamdani's wife, for example, who supported the Syrian revolution that was CIA sponsored. So dumb Western leftists, they love supporting CIA revolutions while speaking down on legitimate worker-run revolutions in countries like came from China, like come from the DPRK. Like we see with Venezuela. They hate Nicolas Maduro because Hugo Chavez liberated Venezuela from Western capital. So it's a common theme when you study history, when you study current events. It's a common theme of people fighting against capitalism, and that was the start of the global Cold War, the class war in retaliation to worker-led movements all around the world, with capitalists paying extreme fascists to betray their own people. And you got to realize that is the entirety of South Korea. South Koreans are descendants of the people who supported betraying their North Korean brothers and sisters by having the West come in and kill and torture their own people. You guys know, I went down a rabbit hole about Korean War years ago. You guys must read about this. History is way more fascinating than fiction. Like, I don't watch Breaking Bad, all these stupid ass shows. History is way more fascinating, guys. You guys realize that when the United States joined the war on the side of North Korea to defeat North Korea to defeat the Revolutionary Army that was whooping their ass, there was many people in the South, many South Koreans who despised communism, who despised many of the Koreans in the North, but actually rejected and they actually opposed the United States getting involved in their country. You want to know what happened to these people? They was murdered and imprisoned. So the remnants that you see in South Korea are the people who are descendants of class traders, are people who sided with the CIA over their own people. These are the people who create a country where you're not even allowed to say anything what I just said right now. Because if you are in South Korea and you mention any of these facts, like if you bring up the fact that South Korea was about to lose before the United States get involved, they will send your ass in prison for 20 years. They do it all the time. Whenever a South Korean goes down a rabbit hole and gets access to information that he's not allowed, he realized that South Korea actually is the traitors and the bad guys in this situation. And then they'll post on social media like, hey guys, shouldn't we reunify with North Koreans? They are our own brothers and sisters. We have a long historical bond and relationship. They are family. They are friends. I think we should reunite with them and seek peace with North Korea. If you type that shit in fascist South Korea, they're sending your ass in prison. Look it up. Free speech don't exist in South Korea. You guys know that, right? But isn't it funny how they say the same thing about the North? The only thing they tell you about the North is, oh, they tightly control and regulate their social media, and they got a really good reason to, considering CIA infiltration, Western disinformation. But everything that the Western people tell you about North Korea is true of South Korea. And I'm not bullshitting you. So despite everything I'm telling you guys, the American people find a way to hate these people who has done nothing but stand up for anti-imperialist movements all over the world. North Korea never, ever recognized Israel as a state. They're not like these bullshit Arab countries, these Muslim Zionist sellouts who say we acknowledge Israel, we just don't want them in the West Bank. We accept the Palestinian genocide. We accept the consequences of the Nakba. We support the scourge of Jewish supremacy, and we believe that Israel should exist as a state. We believe that Hamas should disarm. Look at us. We are Arab states. That's the position of these sellout Arab leaders. Meanwhile, North Korea unequivocally stands with Palestinians, the right to armed resistance. They unapologetically support a one-state solution because they do not view Israel as a legitimate state. Now do you know why you've been lied to about North Korea your entire life? This story is crazy, man. Now I'll read a summary. This story is wild. Trump sent SEAL Team 6 into North Korea to plant a listening device. The operation went sideways within minutes when a fishing boat was unexpectedly at the landing site. SEAL Team 6 killed everyone on board, killed all the civilians, sunk the bodies, and fled while Congress was never told. And if you dive into the story, it's extremely disturbing because they went on the boat to double check that was piercing their lungs. to make sure every single person was dead. This is the kind of stuff that people think the evil North Korean government is doing to Americans, is doing to people in their region. They're like, North Korea is a rogue criminal state. Kim Jong-un is a tyrant that must be put down. For what? What did they ever do to you? You guys have Americans. We have American soldiers going to North Korea committing unbelievable war crimes against their people, killing civilians. The same thing they accuse their enemies of doing. The same thing they accuse anyone in the United States empire wants you to hate. They call a rogue regime. But what's more rogue than this? How many times, because this just now came out through the series of whistleblowers and investigations, how many situations and secret missions that murdered North Koreans, that murdered Chinese people, that murdered many other people that we don't know about? You guys realize that the My Lai massacre in Vietnam, one of the worst atrocities where women and children was brutally murdered, tortured, and raped in Vietnam by U.S. soldiers who was retaliating against the Viet Cong by engaging in collective punishment? You know, the same kind of shit we see in Gaza. Like, if you ever want to lose your faith in humanity, look up what they did in the My Lai massacre, and then realize that many of these people came back home and was allowed to, after raping children, after torturing people to death, after burning people alive, they was welcomed back into normal society, and then Americans told them, thank you for your service. And you guys realize the only reason we know about the My Lai massacre, it came out years ago, and they only charged one person, the lead commander, and they only gave him 6 months. They only gave him 6 months. The lead guy and every single soldier who raped and murdered children was let off. I'm talking about to the tunes of hundreds of innocent civilians wiped the fuck out, and we didn't know about it until like a decade later. So how many of these operations are going on and we don't know about it?